Hi, my name is Annie, and this is Books with Annie. I have read 17 books so far this year, and this is all of them. So, to start us off strong in January, I read Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. I adored this. Joey and Aoife deserve everything. Um, they deserve so much love, so much support, and it was really fun to see their younger years and kind of how they became each other's person. Um, this book is very sad, but it's also full of love. So I highly recommend this series. But if you're interested in the series, I would suggest looking up trigger warnings because it's a lot. But it was so good. I gave this 4.5 stars. Then in January, I read Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I absolutely ate this up. This was definitely more steamy than her other romances, which I'm totally fine with. I did feel like our characters did connect on a deep level. They understood each other in ways that they haven't been able to with other people. And yeah, honestly, seeing a different part of STEM was really cool, and finance, that was fun. That was a fun little sprinkle for us. But Rue and Eli are really fun characters who have been through a lot, have their own baggage, but come together and support each other. And it's really fun to see. The spice was good. I gave it 4.5 stars. And then I'm not going to get Kingdom and Bash out of that stack because it's on the bottom of that huge stack of books. Um, but this is the final installment of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and it ripped my heart out. Such an emotional read, such a long read, and I was never sure how I was going to feel about a certain character and the like sacrifices that her family made really broke me. And her character arc really broke me. I am obsessed with the series, and I felt like everybody's storyline ended the way that they would want it to. You know, like if people died, it was because it was their choice, their sacrifices. I don't want to give anything away because it is the end to such a long fantasy series, but it was so good, so well done. And I'm so happy that I read it. I'm so sad that it took me so long to pick up the first book. But yeah, so happy that that's done. I gave that 5 stars. And then I did my reread of Wait For It by Mariana Zapata, which my first time around reading it, I gave it 4 stars. This time my rating did go up. I love the relationship between Diana and Dallas. I think that his rough exterior is definitely well deserved, just because of who he is and what he's been through. And I think that his embodiment of if he wanted to, he would, and acts of service was just absolutely so sweet. I also loved seeing their relationship with her nephews and just like how much love they had for other people. I, upon reread, gave it 5 stars. Then I read Finale by Stephanie Garber. This was such a fun ending to a fantastical series. I love the writing that Stephanie Garber does. Her like explanations of things is just so beautiful and whimsical, and I really enjoyed the series and I'm very excited for her next one. I like the characters. I like that we got both Scarlett and Donatella in this book. Um, and that they have their own things going on, but they all kind of intertwine. It was very interesting, very fun, very gripping. Just a good time. I have a huge stack of books from February that's sitting next to me. Um, I'll insert a picture actually of all of the books, all 17 of them, because actually, it's only 15 of them. Because, no, might be even less than 15, but it's insane. It's ridiculous. I gave this four and a half stars. And then lastly, in January, I read Pride by Edie Zoboy. I've had this Pride and Prejudice retelling for years. And I finally read it, and I really liked it, actually. So we're following Zuri Benitez, who is she's has mixed heritage. So she is Black, but she also has a lot of Latino heritage, and she lives in Brooklyn. And her neighborhood is kind of going under gentrification, and it's kind of her romance with the boy across the street who just moved in, who's Darius Darcy. Um, and it very well follows the storyline of Pride and Prejudice, which was really interesting to see in this setting, in this concept. And I hate poetry or song lyrics in writing. Like if I'm not picking up a poetry collection, I don't want to read poetry. And there is poetry in this. It makes sense for the story, so it took me out of the story, but not too much. I did give this 3.5 stars. I would recommend it. Now we're moving on to February. I'm impressed by this stuff. Let's get into it. So, firstly, I read Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh. This book broke me. I like I felt so much for these characters. They've been through it. And I only want good things for them. I only want them to feel loved and supported, and I am so happy that we get a conclusion to their story that doesn't hurt me. Ow, I think that seeing Joey and Aoife struggle and then have this book was just so sweet. And then we did get a little sprinkle of Shannon, which was really fun. I gave this 4.5 stars. Then for my family book club, we chose Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I absolutely loved this. This was really, really hard to read. I I would highly recommend it, but I would also check trigger warnings. I am triggered by a lot of things that are in this book, so it was very difficult to read, but I'm so glad that I read it because it was very powerful and it helped me, I think, kind of work on some of my things. So I'm very grateful for this book. I gave it 5 stars. And then I read My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. I enjoyed this book. So this is about Millie and her 4 guy best friends. And there's like a work function that they have to go to, and they want to bring dates. So they join dating services. Millie is not really getting anything other than like nasty pictures and nasty messages. And so she creates a fake profile, but then she matches with one of her best friends. That's my biggest issue, is that she catfishes her best friend, basically. And there is a third act conflict, but it's kind of wrapped up quickly. I don't know. I did enjoy it. There's very fun mixed media elements with like emails and messages within the dating app. Yeah, I had a couple of issues with it. This I gave 3.5 stars. Then we have Better Hate Than Never, which is the second book in the Wilmot Sisters series by Chloe Leese. I adored this book. I think I will love anything that is loosely based off of The Taming of the Shrew by Shakespeare. My favorite play. And 10 Things I Hate About You is my favorite movie. So this, we're following Kat and Christopher. They have known each other their entire lives. And Kat thinks that Christopher hates her, but Christopher is actually pining for her and pushes her away by like not being rude, but just like keeping his distance. But she takes that as he hates her. And then one night she is drunk and he's taking care of her, and it comes out that she thinks he hates her. And he sets the record straight immediately and like starts showing her just how wrong she is. And it was a very, very sweet book. And I loved getting to see her sisters, her family, and just like all of them together with their friends. It was so sweet. I loved this. It was 4.5 stars. Okay, then I have The Striker by Anna Huang. This book could have been like 200 pages less than what it is. I enjoyed this. It was fine. I think I have a problem when authors don't commit to something. So like, let me give an example. So Mariana Zapata, right? She will create her own version of something that already exists. So Instagram is Pictogram, and if there's like a soccer league, she'll make up a new name for it. If there's a very famous person, she'll create a new name for them. My problem with this book in particular is that it's a soccer book, which is my favorite sport, right? But we're following a team in the Premier League, which is a real thing. We talk about a bunch of real teams within Premier League, but his team and his rival team don't exist. I don't like that. Like, I don't want to hear that you're going to go play Arsenal, but you're not an actual team. I don't like that. And I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that would bother someone else, but it really bothered me. Also, just like the third act conflict was a little bit much. Like, I thought we had worked past some of those issues. Like within the characters themselves, I thought they had already figured those things out, worked on themselves enough, but no. I did like the like forbidden aspect with her brother, and I'm excited for his book, which I think is next. Yeah, it was fine. It was just a little bit too long, and there were a few issues that I had with it. I gave this 3 stars. Then I read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, and I absolutely devoured this. This made me want to be a wedding planner and florist like when I was a child. I absolutely loved these two characters. I thought that Elliot and Emma were very fun to follow, and I liked going back into the past for his point of view and then her present point of view. I think that second chance romance can sometimes not work for me or other people, but this one did it for me. I understand some people's issues with our main guy because sometimes I think Julie was trying to make him sound aloof or like mysterious or just like a grumpy man, but sometimes he would come off as an asshole. But I gave this 4.5 stars. And then I read Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This had me gripped from the start. Okay, we open on a girl on the side of the road looking at a bear, and our main guy Wes is like, absolutely not. Like, you need to get in your car right now. So he saves her from a potential actual almost bear attack. And I love West and Skylar. I thought that they were so fun together. His kids added such a fun element to their own relationship and really helped her heal from her own childhood wounds. It was so good, so well done. I just don't like song lyrics in books. This was 4.5 stars. And then I read Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. This was a great end to this duology. I have loved following this cast of characters. They are so creative and so interesting. I have really, really enjoyed seeing how their brains work because they're so thoughtful, and it's been such a good time. I am devastated, but also everything made so much sense. I loved this. This was 4 stars. And then I read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I am thinking of raising my rating on this actually. I have not stopped thinking about it since I read it. So we are following Scarlett, who is a diver, and Lucas, who is a swimmer. And Lucas and his girlfriend break up. Scarlett and the ex become best friends. So it's kind of like a love triangle situation because Penelope, who's the ex and the best friend, she has an interesting attachment to Lucas, right? And he doesn't really do much to kind of separate that. Um, but the spice was really good. The attention to detail that Lucas has for Scarlett is impeccable. He picked up on things that I was like, oh my God, that would be so nice. That's amazing. Like, I can't believe you picked up on that. I rated it 4.5 stars, but I'm thinking I might change it to 5. If I'm still thinking about this book next month, I'm giving it 5 stars. I would reread this book in a heartbeat. It was so good. I'm just so happy with my reads this month. Then I read Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. This book is about Maggie who flips houses. She has a YouTube channel, she has a lot of subscribers. And then Silas, who is a landscaper. There's a like treasure hunt subplot, which is interesting. Um, Very cute small town found family vibes, and I love the growth from these characters because they really try to see from the other's point of view, and it's so nice. I gave this 3.5 stars. Last but not least, I read The Diviners by Libba Bray. Finally, finally, I read it. This was a really eerie, spooky, fun time. So it's the 1920s in New York City. We're following Evie, who has some supernatural powers. So she is one of the diviners. And there's a creepy, spooky man who has come back to life and is killing people for a ritual. And she, her uncle, and 2 men who work with them solve the case, basically. And, or they're trying to, at least. And it's a very fun time. I did find myself thinking it was really long. So it is, I think, just under 468. It's 468 pages. I feel like it could have been like 50 to 100 pages less than that, and we still would have had the same story. My only other qualm with this book was, even though it's set in the 1920s and you have those sayings from the 1920s, I felt like they were very, very repetitive. So there was not much of a breakup between what they would say. Like, so, and how was in this book so many times. And now I've caught myself saying it or almost saying it. Um, Very interesting, but I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to move on to the next book in the series. And yeah, I would recommend it. I gave it 3.5 stars. That was exhausting. I really hope that you like this wrap up. This is my, honestly, I can't believe I read that many books in that many days. I mean, I can, but I can't at the same time. Like, there were days when there was a time growing up where I hated reading. So it's really nice to see that this is who I am now. Um, But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you've read any of these books, or if I've inspired you to pick any up, please let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you've made it this far and you don't have anything else to say, hmm, leave me a dog emoji in the comments below. And subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. We'd love to have you.